Good evening. Welcome to the January Planning Commission meeting. Our chair, Chairman Drew, is not here tonight, but I am standing in as your substitute. So ask for your patience as we go through tonight's agenda. Before we get started, however, ask Mr. Key to lead us in an invocation.
Let us pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you now, dear Lord, with thanksgiving in our hearts. Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all of your grace, and we thank you for your mercy. Now we ask that you will lead us and guide us throughout our deliberations on behalf of the city of Florence. It's in Christ's name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. And then if you would, stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. The commissioners were sent a copy of the minutes from our last meeting, and I assume we've had time to review. If so, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion approved.
Motion and a second to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. We'll start with public hearing PC-2026-01, proposed amendment to the new Ebenezer Church Plan Development District to address signage at 312 South Ravenel Street, identified as Florence County Tax Map number 90103-03-001. Ms. Lane?
Good evening and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
This is a little bit unusual, something we don't get too often. The new Ebenezer Baptist Church has was zoned planned unit development back in, I think, 2009, something like that. And as you'll see, there are some restrictions that were made part of that planned development agreement that they need to have loosened a little bit so that they can put up a new sign. So the location where they want to put the sign up is along East Palmetto Street between Ravenel and Brown Street. They actually own the entire block there as part of the church, and the church itself is immediately west of that. And this parcel is zoned planned development, as is the rest of the church. And then it is under suburban campus for future land use. So they would like to put up this monument sign on their church property. As you can see here on the map, that's East Palmetto on the bottom. The church is there on the right, and then this is a vacant parcel that they do own. I'm assuming it's for overflow parking and any other church activities that they would use it for. And they would like to put a sign on it 5 feet off the property line. And it would be about 37 square feet in area. The total sign would be about 73 square feet with a height of about 10 feet, and which is standard for most church signs. But according to the plan development, which was 2008, the signs for a site entrance can only be 5 feet tall by 8 feet wide with a display area of only 24 square feet. So obviously the one they're requesting would be too large, so it didn't meet the requirements of the PDD, so that's why they want to have this amended. And they are asking for the amendment to be to activity center standards, which allows up to 80 square feet and a 24-foot high sign. The one they're requesting is much smaller than that, but this would give them some wiggle room in the future if they decided to do something else. And it's appropriate for a church campus as well. So that's what they're asking for, is just amending the PDD agreement itself to have the AC standards for signage, and that would accommodate what they need. So here you can see the church itself, and then on the right is the vacant lot where they do the parking and all that. But about where that cone is over at the sidewalk in the picture on the left is about where they want to locate this monument sign. So all this would do would be changing the standards just for that PDD, just for that church. It's not for the whole district or not for all PDDs, specifically for the New Ebenezer Church PDD. So that concludes staff's report.
Okay, thank you, Elaine. Any questions of staff?
Yes, that's just for the sign, just for the sign
Well,
itself,
we
or
would
is
just
it all?
amend the, like you can see in the sign, in the PDD, it has directions about signage, and this would just change that sentence from, 5 feet tall by 8 feet wide with a 24 square foot to, we would just change it to AC standards, which would then be the 80 square foot and the 24 foot height.
Okay. Any other questions?
I do have a question. Well, no, I'm quite sure they have a representative here. I guess I can say the question for them.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions of staff? All right, we'll open the public hearing portion of this. I will ask first if there anybody in attendance who is opposed to this. Okay. Not seeing anyone, then is there anyone here who would speak in favor of this request? If you would, well, please come forward and, if you would, sir, and state your name.
Thank you. I'm Kenneth Barnes. I'm a member of New Ebenezer Baptist Church, and we're just trying to get a new sign to do some improvements to our older sign, and also to do a little bit of beautification to that area and to that property. So we're just trying to, instead of a smaller sign, we just want something that will for Palmetto Street. When you're going down Palmetto Street, you need something a little bit larger and something a little more presentable. So that's what we're requesting, and that's what we're asking for. So we just appreciate your consideration and thank you for what you do.
Sure, thank you. I think there was a question
Yep.
the Commissioner had
yes.
to ask.
Well, would you not want to put the sign where the original sign is?
No, ma'am, because excuse me, where the original sign is in sort of in front of the
Old church.
in front of the church, and it's right there, but it won't really. The size of the sign will not really fit right there, and also the size of the sign, it will be better, more presentable out further off from where the church is, because it's the current sign is right beside the church, and it's a little bit it's smaller, and it's just one of those signs that has a pole, and it's about, I guess, about that big, and so it's there. So yeah, but this new sign will be more presentable and more.
So you're really looking for more visibility from the sign.
Exactly, more visibility for our church and for our recreational center, the SHREC, as we call it. Strive Hard Educational and Recreational Education Center.
Good, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions of Mr. Barnes? Thank you, Mr. Barnes. All right, that closes the public hearing. Any discussion amongst the commissioners? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
There's a motion to approve and a second. Okay. Call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, the next matter up is PC-2026-02, request to zone RU pending annexation, the parcel located at 2916 West Palmetto Street, identified as Florence County Tax Map number 001-01-031. Ms. Lane?
All right. This is our first annexation for the year. This is a about 11 or 12 acre parcel located between Brittany Drive and Celebration Boulevard along West Palmetto Street. If you're familiar with Celebration, it's right next to the SC Real Foods store at that end of Celebration. And there's a large house on it. Currently, the intent is to, once annexed, is to remove the house and develop a townhouse development on there. And that, actually, sketch plan for that is later in this meeting. You'll be considering that one as well. The requested zoning, it's surrounded by commercial general, but the requested zoning is urban residential, which is a more dense residential zoning district, which does permit townhouses. The future land use is general commercial for everything around it, but because of the apartments across on the other side of Brittany Drive, townhouses seem appropriate for putting in here, and they would like to annex in order to get city services as well. So here's some photos, the picture of the house on the left, and then the bulk of the property is wooded and that's a picture of that on the right. And curiously, there is a requirement as part of the property to leave a wooded strip along Brittany Drive. So they will not be clear cutting all the way up to Brittany Drive. There will be a landscape buffer along, a natural buffer left along there, if that's a consideration
Okay. So the request is
for annexation.
to annex and
Yes.
then to zone.
Correct, yes.
Okay. All right. Any questions of staff?
How wide of a natural buffer is it going to be?
I believe the developer said that the plat requires, I think it was like 30 feet, 25 to 30 feet. It's an old wagon cart route, he said. So he has to leave that wooded, which makes my little tree-loving heart happy. But, and I have not, it's been posted and people have gotten letters, and I haven't gotten any complaints or questions about it.
Okay. Any other questions of staff? All right. If not, we will open the public hearing. Again, I will ask if there's anyone here who is in opposition to this matter. Please recognize yourself. If not, is there anyone here who wants to speak in favor of this matter? Okay. I don't see anyone there. Therefore, we shall close the public hearing. Any discussion amongst the commissioners?
What you said first he wants to do is to annex it into the city, right?
Right.
Then the sketch plan here is gonna come later. We got to vote on that also about what they're gonna do to that land, right?
Correct. We're going to annex it and then zone it, and then later, I think, is the sketch plan in a separate matter. So we're being asked to approve the annexation in the zone. Any other conversation, any discussion? If not, I will call for a motion.
I'm sorry, Chairman, I have one other question.
Sure, absolutely.
This land is currently in the county, correct?
That's correct.
What is the current zoning now in the county?
I believe it is unzoned in the county.
I believe I saw that. Yeah, it is.
Unzoned?
Yeah, unzoned.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Then this is that house, I was reading through that house is supposed to be a historical house on that property, that two-story house,
I don't believe so. I think it was built in the 60s.
60s.
There was a reference to a historical, wasn't
I
there?
was reading through
Well,
it.
yeah, the historical commission still has to review it before it can be demolished, so.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Apparently it's zoned R3A. When I looked at, I thought it said unzoned, but they may have adjusted that.
So it says Florence County, that's why I'm asking R3A. So
Oh, okay.
what is the, are we aware of the county? What can go in the county right now as it sits?
I believe townhouses or apartments.
Okay. It says R3A, which permits single-family detached houses on small lots. That's what it says on number 1.
Okay. then that's what it is.
Okay, okay, all right.
Yeah.
And just for my information, on page 19, this, I didn't see the picture up there. What is that? Lennox Point? Is that?
Oh,
Is that
that's
referencing
just,
something?
that's the apartments across the street there.
Okay. That existing apartments.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that whole Brittany Drive is covered with apartments.
Yeah.
Any other questions? So we note that it is currently zoned by the county, or R3A, which allows townhouses or apartments.
No, it allows single-family detached
Excuse me.
houses on small
You're
lots.
right. I made a wrong note. Thank you.
So if we rezone it, he can come in there with just townhouses and no single-family homes, no, am I right? That's how it would be? Because I think I look at the proposal, it say he wants to build, 129 townhouses up in there?
Right, under that zoning, he could put single-family houses or townhouses.
He can do either
Just-
one.
Just to clarify, under R3A, I pulled it up
Yeah,
real quick. In the county, he could do single-family detached, he could do conditional townhomes. I don't know what the conditions are, but I'm sure they're site standard type.
Setbacks, whatever they got. Setbacks and stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Or patio homes. So all three of those would be acceptable as it currently sits.
Sure.
So that sounds pretty,
Very
Comparable.
similar to what we've
Yeah.
got. Yeah.
Comparable, yeah.
I
Okay.
say, but I thought we were still voting on whether or not we're annexing it into the city.
Correct.
correct.
So that's where we are right now.
Right.
Right.
Well,
We jumped the
it's
gun a little bit.
Sort of a twofold
Yeah.
request, annex and zone,
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
not
You're just
simultaneously.
approving whether you think
Yeah.
that's an appropriate zoning for
Right.
the annexation.
Okay, okay.
That's why I was asking about the county. The county
Right.
is a similar zoning, so. Okay, Mr. Chairman, sorry. about
Okay, no, good clarification.
that. Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we annex into the city.
Make a motion that we approve the request annexing in the city and zone RU.
Yes.
That's your motion, okay?
Second.
And there's a
Second.
second? Okay. We'll call for the vote, then all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. All right, next we have PC-2026-03, which is a proposed text amendment to the City of Florence Unified Development Ordinance regarding itinerant, am I pronouncing that
Yep.
correctly? It's a new word. Itinerant vendor sales, mobile services, and temporary use permits. Ms. Elaine, I hope that you're going to define that word.
I am. This is basically
You do?
clarifying and cleaning up a little bit of things. The UDO is 8 years old this month. On the 15th, it'll be 8 years old. And we're trying to clean it up a little bit, find some things. So in the UDO, in this section 1284, under commercial use standards, it mentions itinerant vendor sales permitted to operate as temporary sales uses in these places. And that's the only place it's mentioned. There's absolutely nothing else giving us standards or other directives on how to handle itinerant vendor sales, what they are, what they include. So we are just adding that and clarifying it. One of the things that talks about in this mention of itinerant vendor sales, which is any mobile, non-permanent sales of something besides food. So that would be your Christmas trees, that would be your Easter baskets, your sofas. You'll see people selling sofas out on the side of the road. Anything like that, we really don't have a way to regulate them. So the first thing it says there is the standards for Class A temporary commercial sales events in Table 1293 are observed. So Table 1293 has all of these standards for temporary commercial sales events. But the table on commercial uses did not list itinerant vendor sales as being anywhere. We put in mobile food vendors last year, so we want to add itinerant vendor sales, and then while we're at it, mobile services, which would be things like pressure washing, gutter cleaning out, replacing windshields, things where the person comes to your house or your place of business, does the service, and then leaves. Again, we didn't have any way of permitting that. So those we would make permissible in every zoning district. The itinerant vendor sales, we would only want to be conditionally permitted in either mixed use or commercial districts. And that's what this chart would add to clarify that. So then this table allows administrative permits, which are permits that staff issues. That originally, what was in red is what it says right now, and that's required for only small temporary events, whether they're special events like a church bazaar or something, or a commercial sales use like the Christmas trees or something like that, or construction uses, but they're only for small ones. We want to change it to be required for all temporary special uses, special events, and construction uses, because on yet another table, it said that large temporary special events, which is anything over 1,500 people, had to come before this board, to come before Planning Commission. Do you remember doing any of those? We don't.
Nope.
So, and a lot of times people would come to us and say, we want to do this event, for Wilson's homecoming. And technically, if they brought it to us and they expected to have more than 1,500 people, if they brought it to us the week before homecoming, we'd have to say, no, we can't permit that because it has to go before Planning Commission. So, which seemed a little bit over the top. So we decided it would be easier to just make that also an administrative permit, that as long as they meet all those standards for parking and noise and trash and all of that, that staff should be able to permit it as well, even if it's a little bit of a larger event. So in taking that out of the public hearing requirement, then we would just take out this other section on temporary use permits. So it all kind of snowballed once we started looking at it. But, and then we would just need to adjust the vendor, or the definitions. We will add itinerant vendor sales, and we would want to make it so that instead of being allowed to sell your Christmas trees or whatever, although Christmas trees fall under something a little bit different, but like it says here, outdoor sales booths, truckload sales, things like that. Originally it said 30 calendar days or less. We would change it to no more than 10 days in any 30-day period, so that you could do it seasonally, basically. And then businesses that exceeding that are not permitted. So that way we won't have people coming and wanting to set up and selling sofas for months on end on a vacant lot somewhere. So that's the change we'll make to the itinerant vendor, and then we would add a definition for mobile services, and that would be the on-site provision of commercial or community services to residents or employees of a site. And then things like dog grooming, vehicle cleaning, all of those. That also would include like the video game trucks, or mobile health and dental exams, things like that. So that was not addressed at all before, but when I researched other cities, most of them had something that addressed mobile services, so they weren't just left out there. So I believe that concludes staff's report.
So you mentioned the Christmas trees. Certainly they're there more than 10 days.
Yes.
How do you handle that?
Those actually do fall under, I don't think I have it in here, but they do fall under a different temporary commercial sales that is seasonal. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to look up the exact language, but it is a lot. We do make a special provision in the code for Christmas tree sales, because
Okay.
we do realize that.
So that's sort of
a little different.
And this would not include
class of one.
places like Academy Sports when they've got a parking lot sale. This would
Yeah.
not include that. This is just for true itinerant vendors.
Vacant.
That was my
and
question,
events.
Mr. Chair. If this church wanted to, that big place they have wanted to hold an event to sell some stuff, they don't have to get a permit, do they?
They would still, yeah, they would get a temporary special
Do
event
they have to get a permit currently?
Yes.
In order for that church to sell, or anybody to set up their own property and do a Christmas tree sale, you've got to get a permit.
Yes.
I don't want to get going on that because I think that's crazy. But anyway, all right. That's about the stupid thing I've ever heard in my life.
Well, now they wouldn't have to, if they expect more than 1,500 people, they don't have to come before planning commission to do it.
Yeah, they would have to come before us.
Yeah.
So now, and what you're saying is that, like he said, I hate to call him. Essentially, if you're going to host something that's over 1,500 people, you would need a permit, regardless if you own the property that you're having it on.
That's correct, yes.
But
And
if
even
it was
it's less-
1,000, you
No,
wouldn't
if
need
it's
it.
less, any special event, over and above, just a couple of people getting together, that is for a purpose where the public is invited.
Like a revival.
Yeah, revival or some kind of a festival, a music festival
That is
something like
outside.
that is outdoors,
Gotcha.
yes.
We're going to limit Jesus here. Okay, go ahead. All right.
Hold on.
You get me riled up here, Jerry.
Yeah, well, I mean, so rules, as we know, are put in place because somebody did something they shouldn't have, or somebody got
I got
hurt, and they're not always, don't always make sense.
I got you.
sometimes. But a revival, for instance,
Yep.
they put up tents. Tents are large enough that we have to know about them, so fire marshals can
Sure, I'm
inspect
with
them,
you.
so we can protect public safety.
I got you.
Let's say they want to sell pumpkins at Halloween. If it's a big enough event, and some churches do, then parking may become an issue. Restroom facilities. I mean, there's all kinds of things, and we're not here to prohibit those events. We just want to make sure that they have the things in place that'll protect public safety.
On the mobile, if someone comes up to, are you talking about a guy coming to wash somebody's car?
Well, these are kind of three different things.
Yeah.
We're talking about special events, temporary special events, we're talking about itinerant vendors
Right.
and mobile services. So there are three different things. They're not
On the
necessarily.
mobile services side, let's talk about the mobile service. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
No, you go
Mobile
ahead.
services side. If whoever comes to my office to wash my car, they have to get a permit for that?
One time. They're supposed to, they would just need to get a zoning,
A
one
general,
time
okay. All right.
zoning permit. And
Not
they're supposed to
every
have a
time.
business license.
Okay,
No,
all
no,
right,
not
okay,
every
all
time.
right.
That's only for the temporary special events.
Got it.
And it's one time. They don't even have to renew it annually. The way it's
Right,
set up.
right.
It's
Okay.
just a one-time permit, just like any other business would do to operate in the city.
Got it.
Makes sense.
That's just for, now the city would have just one day event. I know we do have to get a permit just for one day.
That's correct. That's what we're talking about here
That's
as well.
what you're talking about, a one day
Yes, sir.
permit. Okay, and that's mean that because we're getting ready to have an event, and then we're gonna make sure that we be right, so you won't tell us no. But just that one day event permit, and then now when you talk about permit now what you would think would be some part of the price? You
It's
know,
a
you have to have a
$25
price.
permit.
We can get a price like we want, or we got to have a certain amount.
No, it would just be the regular zoning permit, $25 permit. Like Jerry was saying, we just want to make sure that traffic flow is taken care of, parking's accommodated, just to keep, and it's to protect you as well. And if it's going to be on city property at all, you have to have a certain amount of insurance. But it is just to protect the people giving it as well as the city and the public in general.
Okay, because the street belongs to the city.
Right.
Okay, just want to make sure.
We'll let you have your party.
Just trying to bribe. I'm just kidding.
Anybody else? Any other questions?
Make a motion we approve.
Second.
Second.
Before we go forward with that, are we required to have a public hearing?
Oh,
Okay. All right. So we will now, any other questions of staff? Then we will open up the public hearing. Is there anyone that wishes to speak in favor or in opposition? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. Now call for the vote. Call for the
Motion we
vote.
approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That rather complex matter passes.
You got to have your Elvis boots.
That's right. All right, next on the agenda, PC-2026-04, proposed text amendment to the City of Florence Unified Development Ordinance regarding in-home child care facilities.
All right, similar to the last one. Right now, the Unified Development Ordinance describes in-home child care, says small in-home child care facilities are a permitted home occupation provided they are duly licensed by the state of South Carolina and provided they meet all the standards of this subsection. Large in-home child care facilities may be permitted pursuant to a permitted special exception use permit, provided they meet all these standards and any special conditions as applied by the Board of Zoning Appeals. And then in definitions, the only definition we have is child care in home, means a home in which care is given by a resident and no others during the day only, up to and including no more than 6 children, including the resident's own children. So we have no definition in the UDO for large in-home child care facilities. And was brought to our attention by someone who, the way to operate a large one, which we've done as being 7 to 12 children, you have to get a special exception use permit through the Board of Zoning Appeals, which involves a public hearing. We've had several people try to do that, and the neighbors have raised such a ruckus that they were denied the permit. One of those people contacted me and said that when she was doing her research into getting the larger group in her home, the state fire marshal told her, no, you can't have more than 5 children in your home without improving your house, putting a sprinkler system and all of this. So she wanted to know why our code did not comply with that. And we're kind of curious. The DSS website describes a group child care home as a facility in a residence that cares for 7 to 12 children, which would be what we'd call a large in-home. And a family child care home would be a facility that cares for no more than 6 children, what we call the small home. So even the DSS is not in compliance with the 2021 International Fire Code, which says that a facility within a dwelling unit having 5 or fewer persons receiving custodial care is classified as a group R3, which apparently they don't need, they don't have the fire requirements that they do if they have 6 or more children. So, and I double checked with our fire marshal and he concurred that 5 or under. So we are just changing our code so that it matches the DSS. So we changed the small in-home child care facilities. The DSS said that they need to be registered but not necessarily licensed. So we're changing just the wording from licensed to registered. And then large ones, we're saying they're provided they're duly licensed by the state of South Carolina. And then we're changing the definitions for small to be no more than 5 children, so it's in compliance with the state fire marshal. And then we're adding large in-home child care to mean the 6 to 12 children. And that one, they would, again, still have to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals to get that special exception use permit. And they would have to get permitted by the fire marshal. So they would have to make whatever changes to their house would be required by the state for that. That wouldn't be our purview. So those are much smaller changes, but that would make it in compliance with the fire code as well.
The biggest change, as I see it, is the semantics of licensed versus registered. I mean, licensed certainly.
That's just so it matches the DSS website, yeah.
So we're not giving up anything by not allowing another group.
And we don't generally look for that licensure. That's between them and the state.
So you only do that for the large.
Correct.
Okay.
And we're matching what?
What the fire code and DSS say.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Well, what we're finding out is apparently the old rules used to allow up to 6, but now, at some point when I think it was the 2021 International Fire Code, that basically when the state fire marshals go in for inspections, they're turning down any that are above 5. So we're just adjusting one back.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, we don't want to permit somebody and then have the fire department come in and say, nope, you can't do that.
Right. Okay.
So who, I'm very curious about this because I see where they say including children owners children also, right?
Right.
So if they got 3 kids, that means they can't have but 2.
That's correct, yes.
Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Just want to make sure. Just want to make sure.
Clarification. Anybody else? Any other questions? Okay. Then we will open up public hearing. I will ask anyone who is in favor
No small too.
or opposed. Any other questions? Mr. Moses? Y'all have a question?
Nope.
Nope.
Just
Okay.
looking at it.
Clarification.
Yeah.
I was just-
Anyone wishes to speak in favor or against this matter, please recognize yourself. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Please, sir. Please state your name.
My name is Mark Kent. I don't really have a question or statement for or against, just a question of how this would affect, say, an existing person that's running a daycare and they have 6 children that are in their home. Does that affect them? How would that impact them?
We actually brought that up when we were speaking to the state fire marshal, and they said that they don't retroactively, ones that have already been through the original inspection process during those are okay, essentially grandfathered.
Okay.
And we would look at those the same way if they've been in operation. Yeah.
Thank you.
We're not going to go down and shut them down. Yeah. But any new ones coming forward.
Sure,
with this
makes sense.
You gotta go.
Very fair
Thank you.
question. Thanks, Mr. Kent.
We asked the same question.
Anyone else? All right. We'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion?
Motion approved.
There's a motion to approve.
Second.
Is there a second? And a second? Is that you, Mr. Chair? Okay. Call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. That is approved. The last matter for our attention is PC-2026-05. Request for sketch plan review of West Haven townhomes to be located at 2916 West Palmetto Street, identified as Florence County Tax Map Number 001 00-01-031.
All right, good evening, everyone.
All right.
So this is West Haven Townhomes. This is the parcel that we were speaking about earlier, annexing and zoning RU. So this is between Brittany Drive and Celebration Boulevard, and it will front West Palmetto Street. This is a proposed townhome development. So I gave y'all the latest and greatest sketch plan, which we received yesterday from the engineer, where they addressed our plan review comments. So the proposed townhome subdivision. Okay, yeah, if you guys would just reference your sketch plan in front of you. Yes, sir. So the development tract is a total of 11.67 acres, with 4.27 being dedicated for open space. In the RU, if you want to get townhome developments, you need to set aside at least 20%. They are setting aside 30% for this development. It will consist of 27 separate buildings, each with either 4 or 5 townhome units, for a total of 126 townhome units. One of our plan review comments was just our code requires, if you have this many units, you have a second access point for the subdivision. So the engineer is now showing on the sketch plan that there will be an emergency access granted through easement on the adjacent property, which is also, I believe, owned by the applicant, Mr. Patel. But that's something that we will make sure is recorded and in place at the development plan stage. So that plan review comment was satisfied by the addition of that to the sketch plan. It does meet all the UDO standards for townhome development. Elaine was talking earlier about preserving trees, and the developer is installing a 5-foot type A buffer yard around the entire parcel. And then the type A buffer yard is just one canopy tree, one understory tree, one evergreen tree, and 10 shrubs every 100 linear feet. It will be city water and sewer upon annexation. It will be our stormwater system. We'll do all the inspections during construction, and when they're ready, we'll review the development plan for a more detailed review. Everything within the subdivision will be owned in common by the developer and then the HOA. So the streets will be owned privately. There was one issue from our comments that the applicant and engineer are requesting a variance on, and that is for the radius of the streets, where they kind of turn into right angles. Like if you look at Nirvana Lane where it runs into Nova Court, you can kind of see where it kind of takes a 90-degree angle. The engineer has added crosswalks and stop signs for traffic calming to make it more intuitive for drivers maybe not familiar with the streets when they go into the subdivision. And this letter from Mr. Weaver gives some justification for that variance request from the Planning Commission. So the sketch plan is in compliance with the UDO, and the engineer and applicant are asking for a variance request on this radius, these right angles within the subdivision. And that concludes staff's report.
Would you repeat specifically where is it Nova Court in Nirvana?
Yeah, what initially, if you look at like Eternity Lane, where it goes into Nirvana, what the city wants is smooth turns that are sort of intuitive for drivers. You don't have hard right turns if there's not going to be a stop sign. The engineer has added the stop sign for traffic calming. Otherwise, it would just feel kind of unintuitive, unfamiliar if someone was in the subdivision. You wouldn't want them to just keep going straight and not make the right turn.
Into a townhome.
Especially at night.
Right, into the townhome. So that is
So
the
there's
nature.
stop signs, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
No, go ahead.
There's stop signs at both of these places?
There are stop signs.
Nova, Nirvana, and Eternity and
Nova.
Nirvana.
Eternity and all. Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
That's what that red dot is, huh?
So it will say proposed stop sign for traffic calming, and it has a box and an arrow.
Yeah.
And then some of them say proposed stop sign. But anywhere that does become a factor, traffic calming has been added.
So everything is in compliance except for that one issue that they've requested a variance on.
Correct.
Where is the second access?
So the second access will be on the adjacent parcel. So it will be, trying to get my bearings of which way is actually north on the sketch plan, but closer to Celebration Boulevard, there's an adjacent parcel. Right now, it's a single-family home. It's zoned B3, but I believe the applicant owns the proposed development for the townhome and the adjacent single-family. So I think essentially he will have to give himself an easement.
I'm seeing, is that the Queens Gate Management?
It is owned by Real Estate Development, LLC.
Well, I'm trying to find where
So
you're
if
talking
you
about.
go a little bit, if you go above Eternity Lane, there's a existing single-family detached.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Forgot my screen. I don't know if you can actually see. Yeah. Do we have our pointer?
Oh, I think it's on the right hand.
That's fancy.
No, it's further up. And that's just for the sewer, but
Oh,
It's right here, okay, on the other end,
forgive me.
next to Palmetto.
That's right. It goes back onto Palmetto Street.
Okay,
where,
it's on the opposite, yeah.
So why would he not just make it a second entrance instead of an emergency?
Essentially, we're trying to. Oh, I'm sorry.
DOT, I would, the applicant or the engineer may be able to answer that, but I would assume that there's an existing curb cut there, and DOT is real restrictive with their curb cuts on Palmetto Street there. That would be our guess, because they want to limit the distance between curb cuts, and that's an existing one. So.
Well, if you look at UDO section 4-13.3.3A.1, what type of accesses is it, without me looking that up, define those accesses? I don't, does it say, when I hear access, I hear access, it's not an emergency access,
Right.
okay?
I think the intention was to mirror the fire code to allow for, if the worst were to happen and their main driveway was blocked, can we still get in there for emergency services and provide help to people in the subdivision? Or I think that's the intent of the code, is to meet the fire code, just to have a secondary access in case of an emergency, and that one access is blocked.
But it would be a full secondary, not an emergency access.
It would just be an emergency access in this case.
So I'm trying to get across to the section 4-13. Does it say a main entrance and an emergency access for the second entrance, or a true second entrance?
It uses the word access.
Access.
And leaves it there.
Access and leaves it there. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So there would just be one.
One main access,
Right.
and then with a second emergency access, which would be open to EMS and our fire department.
Right, so this access coming in is 50 foot wide, to and fro. How wide is this emergency access? And Jerry, if you could walk up here, just point this thing, because I swear I can't, I know it's up here, but somebody, I want to see what the second access is.
It's right here. It's
On Palmetto itself,
yeah,
right there, all right,
It kind of curves right in here.
okay.
Unpaved driveway.
I see it.
Unpaved driveway.
I got it, yeah, okay.
Unpaved driveway with easy.
Yeah.
And they would have to make that an all-weather access, and we'd likely gate it with a Knox box, so our emergency services could have access there. Or I mean,
So what happens to the buffer? I
It's on
mean,
the other side,
the buffer is along
Brittany Drive.
Brittany Drive right here.
well, you got to, I mean, it's type A buffer on the other side, correct?
Right, up here.
All the way down.
Right, all the way around to shield it from commercial general. And we are working with the engineer to get that more in line with Eternity Lane. I guess the dream from staff is to just run straight from Palmetto into Eternity Lane with the emergency access.
Right.
And then obviously, yes, sir, the buffer would still have to be added. And then there's a type C buffer yard that's required along Palmetto Street to prevent rear access onto Palmetto. So it would actually be a little more intense along West Palmetto Street.
And that's a 25-foot easement? It would be 25 foot for,
For the emergency access or
Yes.
the type C buffer?
well, for the I'm sorry, emergency access.
Right now, this is showing 20, but we would work with the applicant and engineer and the fire marshal to make sure we meet those minimums.
A minimum of 25 feet.
Yeah, I think it is 25 feet. You're right.
Right, 25 feet. So that's going to cut into this ADA handicap ramp, right? Oh, no, I'm sorry, excuse me. What is that? That's just a piece of, is that just land over there adjacent to the last townhome? Number 9?
Yes.
And a fire hydrant will have to be moved as well. So we're still, definitely those logistics would have to be worked out before we approve the development plan.
That's a lot of working out with staff. That's a lot of working out with staff. And we just approve and,
And we just got this today, right?
Yeah, we just got the update of
We
this
just
today.
received this yesterday. So
What's that?
We just received the resubmittal yesterday for this, to address this.
And I'm just speaking for myself. If it's 126 buildings or proposed townhomes, I think for public safety, it's good to have the emergency access, but it needs to have a second access. It's right now it's only one way in, one way out.
Correct.
that's what I'm getting. If it's a gravel road and no one knows it, I mean, if I'm visiting, I don't know it's there. I mean, that's why I'm asking, when you say access in that code, it says access. So in my mind, there's a reason why you're paving this one, and giving a nice median, but then we're just stepchild on the second access is emergency, that's what I'm getting at.
And it's very close to the primary. So if there was something going on, let's say blocking that first entrance and traffic's backed up, even though there's an emergency access right here, I mean, and I know we got the buffer coming from Britton Drive, but there's also Barfield Drive on the opposite side.
How about a traffic study? Have we done any traffic studies on this? Do we have that?
We did sort of an abbreviated traffic study. The design professional, the design engineer is here if we want to get him to answer any questions specifically on the traffic study.
Okay. Are we to that point? Okay. Then we'll open the public hearing up. Someone here to speak in favor? I think I see Mr. Weaver.
Hello, Mr. Chairman. My name's Bob Weaver. This is a paved secondary access. DOT would only allow one access for this property off of Palmetto Street. That's the only access we have to a road. There's no other roads that we can tie into except Palmetto Street. The existing driveways are to be used. It's 25 feet wide. We're going to pave it 20 feet. Presently, it's got rock and dirt, and my client owns all the property. So it will be paved to city standards, 2 inches over 6 inches of GABC. It's not unpaved. I have a note on here that says it's being paved. But normally on subdivisions, when you have above 31 lots, I think it's 30 or 31, you go with a secondary access. And that's why we're showing this. You have 126 townhomes. It's important to have a second. I mean, I don't care if there's a gate up here or not, but we don't want people using it just to be using it, okay? But if we coordinate with emergency services, we have a wide entrance coming in. We have a turning lane in the middle of the highway with no other, there's no other driveways tying in here except Gene Ward and Bobby Thomas across the street, but it's down towards Celebration Boulevard. So there's nothing interfering with the center turn lane. So sure, there's a lot of traffic on Palmetto Street, but on the density here, if you look at our chart, you can go up to 19 point some units per acre. We have 10.79 units per acre for the total gross 11.67 acres. And the R3A townhome ordinance that the county has allows the same development. So, but we need the services that the city provides on the water and sewer, and we're not changing the zoning really, except we're just going into the city, which you've already voted on. So, I'm here to answer any questions on the storm drainage. The original design of Celebration Center, we have a 9-acre lake. It's the most efficient lake in Florence. It's already designed to handle this 11.67 acres. That was planned back in the early 90s when it was designed by me. So, and we've had several developments since then, but we're also adding the pond here just to be safe because we have easements to go through Rogers Brothers, and we've already recorded those easements. So we've done a lot of work up front on this. The only thing was DOT said one access only.
To Palmetto Street.
Palmetto Street. They're not giving us two, but they said we could use the existing driveway that's already there. But as far as this frontage here, one driveway.
And you have an easement.
No, that'll be a recorded easement by Mr. Patel, who also owns this property we're working for. He owns all this land. That's a single family rental home he has there. He rents that out.
Okay.
And
So-
they have a separate driveway. If you look above their residence, you see a private 20-foot ingress egress. They use that driveway to go in and out. and you can go behind Real Foods if you've been to Real Foods, and you can drive around it. They won't be using this emergency access here. Any more questions on that?
Yes, I got one.
Okay.
Why can't we build? You know where I'm going.
No, I don't. I'm trying to think ahead.
Well, why we can't build a few single-family homes along with townhouses?
Okay.
It's
I'd
some
say
other
if this
single
was,
families there.
we have to keep, I think we have 37% open space here. We have to keep 30% open space. And you have 2 single-family homes here already. But if you start building single-family homes, you don't usually mix them together on 11.67 acres. If it's 100 acres, it would be different. It's kind of like out at the Grove. We have single-family, we have multifamily, we have townhomes and more townhomes, and it's 200 acres. So it's a little different here on just an 11.67 acre tract. I understand what you're saying, single family is better, but if you also look at Highway 76, most of these single family homes along 76 have changed to commercial over the years. Everything around this site is commercial. Everything.
Well, that's because they start building commercial property there and they never merge into the city. When they merge into the city, then there'll be a different, am I right?
I didn't follow your
When
question.
they merge into the city, there won't be commercial property then, am I right?
This is already zoned.
Yes. We just zone it.
I mean, it's already zoned in the county,
Mm-hmm.
and it's zoned for R3A, so you could build townhomes.
Mm-hmm.
But there's commercial also on this property. That's where the single-family homes are.
But if you give me this 10 of them, I'd sell it for 10.
If you put 10 here, then you won't have townhomes. But the density we're doing here is less than what the city normally requires, not over 12 on your old zoning. I think the limit was 12 per acre, so we're under that here. And we're also, I could have put more. We could have used 8-unit buildings. Your townhome ordinance requires a minimum of 3 units per townhome building. And I like the 4s and 5s because they look better. And you don't have as many. If you go with 8 units per building, you can put more townhomes here, but we're not doing that.
So if we're drawing this from scratch, why do we need the variances for these turns? Why not just draw like it's supposed to be?
If you put a 150-foot radius here, then you're gonna have people driving around that curve kind of fast. I see it all the time. They go by my house doing that on Pineland Avenue every day. I have to be careful cutting the grass. And Charles lives on that street, and that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
If you look at this, I have crosswalks at every one of those intersections. I have 11 crosswalks here. I have 2,800 feet of street. Do the math. You divide it up, and you have stop signs at every crosswalk on each side of the crosswalk, so they have to stop. In addition, you have
You hope they'll stop. I mean, it's
Well-
an acute. I think the radius is so people don't run off in this townhouse and end up in the front yard, and when little Johnny's paying in the den, and you hope they're gonna stop. But with that same logic of this radius you're talking about, yeah, anybody does 90, if they do a 90 on this, they're gonna go straight in the townhome. So that logic doesn't work with me.
Well, you have a 28-foot radius here, so the fire trucks can make this turn. I can make it to 35, 40-foot radius, but sometimes the city, they require smaller radiuses. They don't like to have big radiuses in subdivisions. So,
So how would this meet requirements? What would you have to do to meet this, not get a variance? How would you have to draw this?
Just like you were talking about, acute.
Right. So more obtuse, correct? So why not draw it more obtuse?
there's only 2 intersections we're talking about here.
Right. So that's my point. Why not fix them now when you're drawing? It's only 2.
Then you're speeding up the speed of traffic. We have 15-mile-per-hour speed limits we're putting in here to slow down traffic.
I think just because of radius, it's not going to increase. It's not increase speed.
Yes,
I don't know how you factor that in. Well, if that's the case, when you go around this other one going here, going toward Eternity Lane from Nirvana, they're going to end up in that townhome. They can't slow down fast. That's the logic I'm hearing. You got one over here already, right? Here's this one over
we have
here.
stop signs there.
When you say over here, where are you?
Well, if you look on Nirvana Lane, it's just that's the radius that's drawn. Is that meets the code, and these two corners at each end of it do not. Actually, there's three that do not. 1, 2.
The one with emergency access will come off that T. You need to have that 90-degree turn there for your emergency access.
Okay, all right.
There's only 2.
Right. So if there's only 2, I don't know why we don't just fix them now. Just draw it to where it's like the opposite side you're doing, instead of asking for the variance.
You're asking for a 150-foot variance. Most towns only require 100 or 50, like in Darlington.
I'm not asking for anything. It doesn't meet the code, Mr. Weaver. All right, doesn't meet the code. Doesn't meet the code. So you're asking for a variance because it doesn't meet the code. I'm sorry.
The code's not always right.
The code. Well, you talk to the staff about that then. I mean,
That's why we're asking for a variance.
right. So the code's not always right. I don't know about that.
All right. Any other questions of Mr. Weaver?
He's not gonna give me that time, single family homes. Okay. I wish we could.
Makes sense to me.
I make a motion to probably hold this off until next meeting for further consideration, just so we can take a better look at everything.
I'll second that.
If that, before we start throwing around motions, is any more conversation amongst the commissioners? Let's talk through this, and then we'll get to the motion.
Okay.
But in other words, the city had to get back with them so they can make sure they get that variance that you want, Mr. Hyde. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, to see if they, say that again, Mr. Moses.
What the Mr. Hyde was talking about, he wanted to get that variance right before while they're there, so we had to come back and do it all over again. Tear it all up, do it while he's there.
Okay.
Am I right, Mr. Hyde? That's what you were talking about?
Yes. I mean, just if it's in the planning phase, I don't understand why we, if that's what the code is, it's what the code is. We're not asking for, a big cul-de-sac or anything like that.
It's a little bit of work, not much.
Anything out of staff on this? Any light to be shed over this issue?
I think, originally they started out as curves, but they've turned into intersections instead of curves with the stop signs and the added angles. So I think we need to take a look with the engineer and the developer at the requirements for an intersection, which have a reduced radii at that corner and, would then be allowed. So I think that's where we need to work there. We just need to,
Well, what's better, Jerry, the radius or the stuff? Which
well,
one's?
I think when we, originally they were curves,
Okay.
and we said that didn't meet our requirement, and in doing so, we kind of forced some stop signs to go in there, which changed it more to an intersection as opposed to a curve. So I think we need to look at it and treat it as an intersection as opposed to a curve, because that's what it is now. I mean, you're coming to a complete stop there, and the requirements are different for that. The requirements for an intersection, for range in a radius depending on, this would be a local street, so it could be as low as 20 feet there. And, we'd still need to make sure the fire truck could make the turn and all that. And, I haven't looked at the geometries of all that, but that's my personal feeling about it.
Well, if you do an intersection, if you do where it stops.
That's right.
In this area, you still have to have a radius for a fire truck to get around that, correct?
That's right, yeah, you would.
So that's why we're asking for the variance now, right? Even at the intersection level, we're asking for a variance.
I think the fire truck could still make it with a reduced, it makes it all the time.
Sure, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
think, I mean, Bob knows the geometry, is good at that. I mean,
The fire trucks require 28 feet. That's why I changed it from 21 to 28.
okay.
It used
Well,
to
that may be the answer. Then change it to intersection instead of asking for variance.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree?
And we don't need a variance. I don't know why we need one, really.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of questioning that too. I apologize, but I'm looking at it, and I think it's turned more into an intersection as opposed to a curve. And
Correct.
especially with the stop signs in place now, it's clearly an intersection. Yeah. So I don't think a variance is required here.
Well, we've come full circle.
We finally filled it out.
It's all.
It's all.
Sounds like this can be handled outside of this group then. And so now I will entertain, if we're finished with discussion, a motion.
Move for adoption.
What was the question?
Well, I think there's some confusion. Have you got to go back and change this before it comes back to us with no variance, or are you saying it doesn't require variance now?
I think, I think as long as they can, the sketch plan as presented, came with the variances. I think if we say that we treat it as an intersection and it meets the code of the intersection requirements in our ordinance, the minimum, I mean, he sounds like he's going a little bit above that, then I think you could approve it, but I would like that mentioned in the
Well,
motion.
there's a total of 6 comments that are on here that you need before. I mean, I don't know how this is before us, and you guys have all these questions.
What are the other comments?
So the other comments have been addressed.
They've been
Okay.
approved. Yeah, they were
That's
all
what I thought.
checked.
That's what
Yeah.
we've addressed them
I
all.
thought I heard you say you got this just today. That's
Well,
what
we
I'm
got
asking.
the variance request today for
Okay.
the radii, and we got or yesterday, and the emergency access, the secondary emergency access, yeah. Other comments were addressed prior to that, I think,
Yesterday.
Yes.
yesterday.
We got them yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was just the radius was the one issue.
Correct.
Can I make one more comment?
Please.
The emergency access was already on my drawings last time, a month ago, but you asked me to make it more clear and put the width and show how we were going to improve it. So we added that, but it was on the original plan, the emergency access. Okay?
Maybe the original.
Yeah.
But not the original.
But then DOT threw a kicker in this whole thing when they started
Did
one access.
did they give a reason as to why they were only doing one, or they just said we're doing one? That's
Based on
it.
the frontage, they can only allow one access for these 126.
Thank you.
They said we can use one of the old accesses there at the house, okay, that's already there. And just 25 feet, it's already existing. We're just tying into it.
Thank you.
What is the distance for DOT between this entrance? How far would you have to go to put another entrance in? And let's just say this spot was larger. How much distance does DOT require?
It's usually 150 feet, but they've been real picky on Highway 76 because of the traffic. So,
How far is this primary access from this? I'm just telling you what it says, where the easement's going to be here, 25 foot. How much distance?
I have 358 feet of frontage here, so it's over 150 feet. There's another access here too, but we can't use it, so we have to close it up. Any more questions?
Thank you, Mr. Weaver.
Okay.
All right, one more time. All the issues have been checked. The variance has been solved. Is that fair?
What he said he was gonna put it in writing, that's what he said right there? I heard
He
that
wanted it in
part.
the motion.
That's what he's gonna do.
What's that?
I think he wanted it in the motion.
Yes, it needs to be in the form of a motion.
Public comment?
That's a good question. No, Mr. Weaver was followed, yeah. Anybody else here to speak for or against? All right. We'll close the public hearing. Thank you. All right. Anyone ready to make a motion on this?
I make a motion we approve only if what staff has told us tonight is going to be held to. I find it very uncomfortable, you know, we get this thing, you know, with changes we got to kind of jump to now. So that's my only reservation. I agree with you on that.
So I think specifically, Jerry, what you asked to be in that motion was that it not be considered a radius but an intersection.
That's right, not a curve
And
radius, but
therefore
an
that would
intersection.
remove the variance requirement.
That's right.
Okay. All right,
So
so
can-
we'll add
can-
that to
can
your
you-
motion.
All right, well,
Because it's required. Otherwise, it's a variance and
Right.
it's not approved. So it's approved with no variance. That's the motion.
is that doable, Jerry? Or
Yes,
okay,
that's
all right.
Second.
There's a second. Okay.
Any discussion?
Call, any discussion? We'll call for the vote.
Well, hang on.
You got some?
I want to hear if you got it.
No, I'm gonna
Not one today.
leave it.
Not today.
I'm gonna trust the staff to do it right.
What?
Okay.
That's all you got. You got
Any-
to have that trust in the staff to make sure it be done right. You know,
Fair.
Because at first we say we're gonna put it in right, and we go ahead and we gonna vote on it. Go ahead and just go ahead, and I'm gonna trust the staff. So I'm gonna vote for it.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Motion carries.
Okay.
Well, that's fun.
I'm making a motion to be adjourned.
That's all I see on my agenda. Is that it?
That's it.
I'd like to make a comment before we adjourn.
Okay, before,
Hey guys, I just want to know who's with me on this. I know staff is extremely busy. Trust me, I know firsthand. All right, but I for one would kind of like stuff prior to
Yes.
one day. I mean, you know, springing something on us, and
Yeah.
I'm scared we're gonna make the wrong decision one day. And I trust you to say, hey, this is gonna be right, Mark. You know, and
Yep.
I mean, don't agree with me on that. I just it's
100%.
It's difficult to. I don't want to hold up progress
And,
that type
and we try to thread that needle between being helpful to applicants and trying to take those last minute changes.
I got you.
But sometimes we don't have time to react to them, and we expect you to react to them. So I get it, because we're in a similar predicament. And you know, because we do have time to run it by various staffs and departments and fire marshal and such, so that we're making the right decision. So I agree with that. I mean, and maybe we should create a deadline for these resubmittals prior to the planning commission, that they would need to come in prior to the reports going out. We try
Yeah,
to get the reports out a week ahead of time, or in the mail a week, and then you guys.
because it's not fair to all of us to. I mean, you know, I'm familiar with all this stuff, but some people may not be familiar with it. It gets out of hand a little bit. You know, we came in here. I was going to vote this thing down. I'll be quite honest with you, because all these questions, I'm like, I'm not voting on this stuff. All these questions, and then if all the questions were answered, it sure make life a lot easier instead of.
If you guys got the.
Well, if we knew
information.
that questions were answered prior to coming here, say, okay, this is the final. This is what you're voting on. Not asking us to, you know, not that we don't trust you. I'm just saying we're voting on something to put in law.
Yeah.
And we're trusting other people to make sure that, and I'm sure it will. But you understand?
I get it. You're a public body working for the public.
You know,
So,
I don't
yeah.
want somebody to say, well, gosh, why did y'all approve something that had 7 questions? You know, although I think we hashed them out tonight. I
yes,
guess.
I think
know
I'm
there's
confident. I'm
magnitude.
confident that we did, and I feel good about that. But I do think, Jerry, in the future, that it shouldn't come. You shouldn't allow it a day ahead,
Yeah,
because
I agree.
once we receive our packet, I don't know that we can. It's unfair to us to kind of put us on the spot to have to
Yeah.
sit up and dangle in front of the public and not
Hanging
have
us
all
out to dry,
have
Jerry.
all the facts. So,
I'll be with you. Don't worry.
all right.
We've seen it happen.
I think we've all made our point, Mr. Moses, and you got a motion.
Elaine.
Oh, I did. You just kept going.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
Yeah.
A motion second. We're done. Good night.